that black boy over there running scared. He's all in the ball. He done quit his 9 to 5. He's thankful that now he's living in the ball. See that black boy over there running scared. He's all in the ball. And it's the bad one. He ain't done for everything. He's all on the way to make a ball. And don't you think it's a crime when time after time in the ball, there's people living in the ball.
Welcome to the Take with Charles Butler. I hope you all enjoyed the show yesterday. As you can tell, we're still experimenting and growing as the show goes on. We, have a few technical glitches to work out as we learn the system. But that's normal. The show this evening is not going to be that long. I hope to be more consistent and start broadcasting in the evening sometime between 2 and 4 for those of you who are listening, and tell your friends that we are back on the air and we will be broadcasting around the world. That's interesting. I kind of been watching the news off and on all day, and I can tell you it's really interesting what's going on in terms of the election and how President Obama is trying to frame the election around class. And he has some interesting things to say about class. But again, people are still playing the Romney tape and talking about Mitt Romney and his 41% statement. Let's play what Mitt had to say. But before we do that, I'd like to say the show is being sponsored by Precision Payroll of America and Champion News. And as we move into this, let's hear what Mitt Romney had to say about the 47%.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. There are 47% who are with him, who are dependent on their health, who believe that they are victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to help.
Well, don't know what happened there. The clip just stopped playing in the middle. But anyway, you've heard it, I'm sure, a dozen times, and it's still the same old thing. What Mitt Romney said is absolutely true. People need to take more personal responsibility for their lifestyle, for their retirement, for their lives. Too much time is being spent by the government trying to babysit people. We need to stop it. It's ridiculous. I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of government in my life, especially Barack Obama's government and this nanny state. Now, one of the things that's really scary to me is that people and the media certainly overlooked that the president called for people to report folks that were saying bad things about his administration. That sounds like Stalin to me. That sounds like Hitler to me. In fact, it doesn't sound like them. That's what they did. They called on neighbors to spy on neighbors, Russians to spy on Russians. Anyone who said anything bad about the government, they reported to the police, picked them up, and took them away. Barack Obama, he doesn't do that. He just tries to ruin you economically. They'll send the IRS after you. They'll harass your employer, things like that. But at the end of the day, these are dangerous people. They use socialist, communist tactics to come after us. Now, you have to understand, this is not Charles Butler saying this. This is truly what happened. The president called for people to report folks that were saying negative things about his administration. Now, if I'm lying, you can email me at contact@charles-butler.com, and we'll get with it. We'll pursue it. But I can tell you, it's it's bad, folks. It's bad, and your president did it, not me. So don't get mad at me, as most folks try to do when you point out what happens, what this president is doing, and what's going to happen to our country. I just find it odd that it takes a Brit, one of my favorite Brits, to point out what's wrong with government. I really like Maggie Thatcher. I think she's a great person, and certainly she was a great leader. And I think President Obama, as well as President Clinton and President Bush, would have done well to pay attention and heed some of the lessons of Maggie Thatcher. But let's play Maggie Thatcher, and you can see, you can hear firsthand what she had to say. I can see the video, but you can hear firsthand what she has to say.
Debates of our time is about how much of your money should be spent by the state and how much you should keep to spend on your family. Let us never forget this fundamental truth. The state has no source of money other than the money people earn themselves. If the state wishes to spend more, it can do so only by borrowing your savings or by taxing you more. And it's no good thinking that someone else will pay. That someone else is you. There is no such thing as public money. There is only taxpayers' money. Prosperity won't come by inventing more and more lavish public expenditure programs. You don't grow richer by ordering another checkbook from the bank. And no nation ever grew more prosperous by taxing its citizens beyond their capacity to pay. We have a duty to make sure that every penny piece we raise in taxation is spent wisely and well. For it is our party which is dedicated to good housekeeping. Indeed, I wouldn't mind betting that if Mr. Gladstone were alive today, he'd be reapplying to join the Conservative Party. Protecting the taxpayer's purse, protecting the public services. These are our two great tasks, and their demands have to be reconciled. How very pleasant it would be, how very popular to say, spend more on this, expand more on that. And of course we all have our favorite causes. I know I do. But someone has to add up the figures. Every business has to do it. Every housewife has to do it. Every government should do it. And this one will.
And that's from the Prime Minister, Maggie Thatcher, a real leader. That's what I call leading. Excuse me. That's what I call leading from the front. Maggie Thatcher. There is no public money. That's taxpayers' money. Barack Obama would never understand that. Why? He's never had a job. This is a guy who has never had a leadership position. He's not shown, and when he was questioned, this is the egregiousness of all of this. When he was questioned about the fact that he had no executive experience, you know what he said? His reply was, "Well, I'm managing my presidential campaign." No, he wasn't running the campaign. David Plouffe and David Axelrod were actually running the campaign. Yeah, he made maybe the final decision, but after much analysis and massage by those guys. So, it's not like he was a real leader, like he could lead on protecting our embassies, like he could lead on going into Libya and taking out Gaddafi, who had complied and capitulated with the West and had become accepted by the West as long as his money was flowing into their coffers. I tell you, amazing. But, Mitt Romney's response to this whole redistribution thing was very simple, and it should be very clear for all of us, because he left no stone unturned when he responded in Atlanta this morning this way.
I know that there are some people who believe that if you simply take from some and give to others, that we'll all be better off. It's known as redistribution. It's never been a characteristic of America. Just a tape came out a couple of days ago with the president saying, yes, he believes in redistribution. I don't. I believe the way to lift people and to help people have higher incomes is not to take from some and give to others, but to create wealth for all of us, to create an economy so strong it lifts everybody.
Well, that's true, and that certainly works. Not only in theory does it work, it works, period. That's how America has been great, by giving people the opportunity to rise up. As I often say, it's not about we in America. It's about the power of the individual to act within the confines of government to grow. It's just amazing how the differences in these two presidential candidates, the president and the challenger, Mr. Romney, are just so diametrically opposed. The choice is very clear. Do we revert to a socialist democratic agenda, one where our borders aren't respected, one where foreigners have more opportunities than American citizens, one where foreign children who are illegal can go to college cheaper than our students who are residents in that state? Are we so confused that we allow illegals to vote in our elections, like here in Chicago, where people who are clearly not citizens are voting in our elections and impacting our city and election outcomes? It's unconscionable. Truly unconscionable. The last time I checked, this wasn't Chicago, Illinois / Mexico. But, as I said again, I'm not a proponent of illegal immigration. And I think all illegals should be given 90 days to get their affairs in order and leave this country or face imprisonment. And I don't mean in a country club prison. I mean under Sheriff Arpaio out in Arizona, who understands that coddling people doesn't work. You don't want them to come back. I see these black guys bragging about having gone to jail here in Chicago and having gone to prison, and they talk about what a great time they had watching TV, being fed 3 times a day. Kind of sounds like what they do with the Chicago public school children. Feed them a couple of times a day, breakfast, lunch. Again, nanny state, programming people to depend on the government. When I was a kid, I had to get up in the morning, get my breakfast together, if my mother hadn't done it. And my brothers and I, we ate, got out, and got to school. I had to walk almost a mile to school every day in weather. So people, please, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to make excuses. We all need to be responsible, and we certainly, those 47 percenters need to have an opportunity for a better life, and not what Barack Obama offers. But again, the president hasn't done much but offer us a way to become unexceptional in the world and take away the greatness that has become America. I'm going to play a clip comparing defense spending by the president versus that by Obama. This is taken from Fox News this afternoon. But before we do that, I think what we'll do is we'll break and go to commercial. And as usual, this segment was sponsored by Precision Payroll of America.
Kim Moline, co-owner of the Wingstop restaurants in Lansing and South Holland.
Hey, Tom, I've got to be honest. Although I was unhappy with our old payroll company, I was pretty apprehensive about transitioning to a new one. When it comes to payroll, delays and lost data are really unacceptable. But I'm happy to say your staff really made it easy for us, and the transition couldn't have been smoother. And now, as we consider taking advantage of some of the other services you offer, well, let's just say that next time we won't be so chicken.
Thanks, Kim. Just call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or check us out at the web at precisionpayroll.com. That's precisionpayroll.com.
Into Champion News Talk Radio on AM 560 WIND. Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Jack Roser and guests will cover the hottest issues of the day with truth, integrity, and without political correctness. You can also check out championnews.net for the latest political news and information, such as Illinois teachers and administrators' salaries causing your taxes to skyrocket. That's Champion News Talk Radio, 8 a.m. Sunday mornings on AM 560 WIND and championnews.net.
We must have a commitment not just to more ships and more aircraft, but also, in my view, to more members of our armed forces.
President Obama wants a smaller conventional force and $500 billion in Pentagon spending cuts over the next 10 years.
And so long as I'm Commander-in-Chief, we will sustain the strongest military the world has ever known.
Let's start with the Romney plan. The candidate says he favors a larger force of naval ships and aircraft, but has not said how he'd pay for it. Romney has also said he wants to add 100,000 troops to the current force of 1.4 million. Now for a look at Obama's plan. As part of $500 billion in spending cuts, President Obama says he wants to get rid of older ships and delay buying new ones. He also proposes cutting the Army by some 66,000 and reducing the Marine Corps by another 20,000. Obama envisions continuing use of small special forces teams and unmanned drones, a signature weapon of the last decade. But Romney's surrogate and former DOD comptroller Dov Zakheim says not so fast.
There's no objection, no ideological objection at all to having drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned subsurface vehicles, unmanned surface vehicles, all kinds of unmanned vehicles. The issue is, to what extent do you rely almost exclusively on drones and on special forces?
For President Obama, secret CIA drone attacks against militants in Pakistan and Yemen have had results without risking putting U.S. troops on the ground.
And
he told CNN's Jessica Yellen,
it has to be a situation in which we can't capture the individual before they move forward on some sort of operational plot against the United States.
I don't.
Well, folks, that's the clear contrast between the two candidates. One has a plan to depend on smaller special operation forces and try to play Navy SEAL or Green Beret, while Mr. Romney wants to listen to the military leaders and keep a strong America in the defense sector by modernizing the Navy fleet and increasing the personnel and ground troops on the ground, which makes sense to me. If we'd done that going into Iraq, we probably could have ended that war in a few months rather than allowing it to drag on the last 10 years. But again, it's been interesting, and it'll continue to be interesting as we move toward the election. I have a little clip about Mr. Obama here that I'd like to share with you, and then I'll comment.
It has to be a situation in which we can't capture the individual before they move forward on some sort of operational plot against the United States.
I don't think whether Obama or Romney wins, we're going to see this technology go away or see any greater minimized use of it because of their own approach. I think we've seen that President Obama is most definitely willing to utilize these. Actually, it's been a signature part of his counterterrorism agenda, and it would be very hard for Romney to roll that back, even if he wanted to.
Whether it's Romney or Obama.
Well,
it has to be.
Whether it's Romney or Obama, people, I can tell you this. We need to get a policy where our troops are protected, where we're not sending money and funding our enemies as we're doing in Egypt and Libya and Iraq. These people have clearly demonstrated they are not our allies. Why we're in this region when the Soviets failed, I have no clue. That would be like the Russians going into Vietnam and trying to democratize the country of Vietnam after we failed to hold the communist influence after our 12 years and 58,000 lives lost. But again, people, when these politicians don't have their sons and daughters in harm's way, they don't care about making these ludicrous decisions because it's your sons and your daughters and not theirs. Old men have no hesitation about sending young men into harm's way, especially old men who've never been there. That's why I think anyone who holds the office of Commander-in-Chief should have served in the military in some capacity. But as we move along here, it has been a very, very long day, very interesting day. I had, like I said earlier, meant to come on the air between 2 and 4, but things just came up. There are some things that are coming up and coming to light and broke during the late afternoon today, which is the Obama administration had denied having any previous knowledge and denied not only haven't had any previous knowledge, but it was not, they kept saying it was not a terrorist threat, the bombing of the Libyan embassy. It was not premeditated. And that was just the opposite of what the Libyan
can tell you is based on the information.
The Libyan president was saying. So why don't we just take a quick minute, and I'm going to play what the Libyan president said and what our State Department was saying. You'll find this interesting.
I'm Brett Baer, and this is a Fox News alert. We begin tonight with a Fox News exclusive. Intelligence sources are convinced the attack on the consulate in Libya was directly tied to al-Qaeda. And we've received word just within the last few minutes that they think one person may be tied and may have led the attack on the ground. His name, Sufyan ben Kumu. Now, his name also translated Sufyan Ibrahim Gamu, likely involved in the attack, according to sources, may have even led it on the consulate. Gumu, a Libyan, was released, now this is the important part, released from the U.S. prison at Guantanamo Bay in 2007, released from Gitmo and transferred to Libyan custody under the condition back then that he would be kept in jail. He wasn't. According to his Gitmo files, which we have obtained, he was also tied to the 9/11 financiers. His alias is, quote, found on a list of probable al-Qaeda personnel receiving monthly stipends and family support. So again, possibly this is one of the men involved in the attack, maybe the leader of the attack on the consulate in Libya. We've obtained these files from his Gitmo records, and there's also a tie to 9/11 and the financiers.
I can tell you is based on the information we had at the time, we have now, we do not yet have indication that it was pre-planned or premeditated. There's an active investigation.
While the Libyan president and senior lawmakers briefed on the assault that consistently called it a premeditated terrorist act, earlier this week the State Department pushed back on the characterization.
I'm not going to put labels on this until we have a complete investigation, okay?
You don't see what is an act of terrorism? I don't think we know enough. Now a 3-page Homeland Security intelligence report obtained by Fox News is raising new questions about the administration's claim that these demonstrations in Cairo on 9/11 were solely fueled by the amateurish video clip about the Prophet Muhammad. 2 days before the demonstrations, Homeland Security had information that there was a call for Egyptians to attack the U.S. Embassy to force the release of the blind sheikh, who is held in a federal prison in North Carolina after his conviction in the first World Trade Center attack. The call to action posted on the web read in part, quote, "The time has come for a strong movement from you, O sons of Egypt, to release the detained sheikh. Let your slogan be no to the American embassy in Egypt until our detained sheikh is released, even if it requires burning the embassy down with everyone in it."
The film is a part of it, but there's more, including, I believe, definitely the blind sheikh being a factor in these demonstrations.
Okay, folks, now we know. We know that the blind sheik was the reason these folks attacked. The latest is that 9/9 information was posted on websites that said basically we need to attack the embassy and bring the embassy down. Did Barack Obama respond? No, he was out campaigning and playing golf. This guy is truly unbelievable. And you people think that he was a leader and thought he was a leader. Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Kim Moline, co-owner of the Wingstop restaurants in Lansing and South Holland.
Hey, Tom, I've got to be honest. Although I was unhappy with our old payroll company, I was pretty apprehensive about transitioning into a new one. When it comes to payroll, delays and lost data are really unacceptable. But I'm happy to say your staff really made it easy for us, and the transition couldn't have been smoother. And now, as we consider taking advantage of some of the other services you offer, well, let's just say that next time we won't be so chicken.
Thanks, Kim. Just call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or check us out at the web at precisionpayroll.com. That's precisionpayroll.com.
Into Champion News Talk Radio on AM 560 WIND. Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Jack Roser and guests will cover the hottest issues of the day with truth, integrity, and without political correctness. You can also check out championnews.net for the latest political news and information, such as Illinois teachers and administrators' salaries causing your taxes to skyrocket. That's Champion News Talk Radio, 8 a.m. Sunday mornings on AM 560 WIND and championnews.net.
Kim Moline, co-owner of the Wingstop restaurants in Lansing and South Holland.
Hey, Tom, I've got to be honest. Although I was unhappy with our old payroll company, I was pretty apprehensive about transitioning into a new one. When it comes to payroll, delays and lost data are really unacceptable. But I'm happy to say your staff really made it easy for us, and the transition couldn't have been smoother. And now, as we consider taking advantage of some of the other services you offer, well, let's just say that next time we won't be so chicken.
Thanks, Kim. Just call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or check us out at the web at precisionpayroll.com. That's precisionpayroll.com.
Okay, we're back. And as you can see, the White House is trying to spin and make a terrorist attack on the Libyan embassy, U.S. embassy, about anything except what it was. Muslim extremists attacking our sovereign land. Another attack on America. You see, people, whether it was in New York City or in Tripoli or Benghazi in the consulate, that is American soil. We've been attacked twice. What are we going to do about that? Are we still going to send the Libyans money? Are we still going to send our troops in, put our troops in harmless way? These people are not very smart. You have to remember that a very large section of the Arab population in the Middle East is illiterate. Yeah, they can speak in their languages and they can quote the Quran, but that's only because that was told to them. It kind of reminds me of black Americans here in the days after Reconstruction, and really up through the 60s, when before blacks started having access to better education, where preachers stood in the pulpit, and they were preachers because largely they could read, and most of them these preachers who themselves were semi-literate, they were told what was in the Bible. They didn't read and interpret the Bible, and most of them still don't. That's why I really abhor some black churches, because of that lack of intellectual discourse in Scripture. You look at the Jewish religion, and I'm not trying to castigate the black church. I'm just telling it like it is. You look at the black church, it's about emotion. It's not about someone sitting down and reading the Bible and having an intellectual discussion and conclusion about what God meant, or his disciples meant, or the authors of the various chapters meant. It's all about emotion, rooted in the word being passed orally, not interpreting the Scripture. Oh man, that was saying a lot there. Getting a little carried away, but it's getting late, and I have to get up early in the morning and go to an event where my alderman will be there, along with Leader of the House, Mr. Madigan. So we had, I think we played Jay Carney already, lying about where the attacks on the embassy. So let's segue real quick into the RNC's ad about redistribution. You gotta have to bear with me. I couldn't get a real clear tape on this because I don't know why, but I'll try to get a better clip tomorrow. But listen to this and tell me what you think.
Wow. Man, wow. That was some pretty dramatic music there.
It certainly was.
Huh?
You deserve it, Mr. President.
This is actually President Obama
activities.
with Jay Leno.
Great.
I feel good.
How much do you weigh?
About 180.
180 looks good on
Thank
you. Because that's just about where I am, and I don't look so good at 180.
You look sharp.
You haven't seen me naked.
We're going to keep it that way.
Okay. Yes. That's fair enough. All right, I like that. We'll keep it that way. I don't know if you have seen the videotape, but I'm sure you know what we're referencing here. Mitt Romney at a fundraiser, I believe, in Florida. There's a cell phone videotaping his remarks, and he talks about being, in very dismissive terms, why 47% of the people voting don't matter to him. And what does that mean? Is that what rich guys at country clubs are talking about?
Well, I don't know what he was referring to, but I can tell you this. When I won in 2008, 47% of the American people voted for John McCain. They didn't vote for me. And what I said on election night was, even though you didn't vote for me, I hear your voices, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to be your president. And And one of the things I've learned as president is you represent the entire country. And when I meet Republicans, as I'm traveling around the country, they are hardworking, family people who care deeply about this country. And my expectation is that if you want to be president, you got to work for everybody, not just for some. And the other thing you discover is, as you travel around the country, boy, the American people, they work so hard. I mean, the progress we've made since the Great Recession is because you've got single moms out there who are working 2-3 jobs to help make sure their kids can go to college. And you've got small business owners who are keeping their doors open and keeping their employees on, even though it means they may not be taking down a salary. And, you go up to Detroit or Toledo and you see auto workers who take huge pride in the fact that they're bouncing back, but they work hard. And you don't meet anybody who doesn't believe in the American dream and the fact that nobody is entitled to success, that you've got to work hard. And so I promise you, there are not a lot of people out there who think they're victims. There are not a lot of people who think that they're entitled to something. What I think the majority of people, Democrats and Republicans, believe is that we've got some obligations to each other, and there's nothing wrong with us giving each other a helping hand, so that if there's that single mom's kid, even after all the work she's done, still can't afford to go to college, for us to be able to give them, some help on a student loan so they can end up being curing the next disease or making sure that they're starting the next Google. I think that's a good investment for America. And that's, if you want to be president and you want to bring people
When you were really talking about incoming bills, which suggest redistribution
This is the choice we face. This is the choice we now face. Folks out here losing their jobs and losing their homes, lost their jobs, their homes, and losing their life savings. Their life savings. Now, Toledo, I won't pretend this will be easy. Now, I won't pretend the path I'm offering is quick or easy. And the truth is, it's going to take, it will take more than just a few days or even a few weeks. More than a few years for us to repair, to solve. Let us unite in common effort. It'll require common effort. Put people back to work. Put more people back to work. Repairing and rebuilding our roads and our bridges. Rebuilding roads and bridges in our schools. And schools. Creating jobs, creating new jobs right here in the United States of America. Here in the United States of America.